There is a profound truth in the reality that betrayal is not just an action against you, it's an action against them. When someone betrays you, they are not only attacking your character or your trust, they are making a grave mistake against their own destiny. Betrayal may seem like a momentary victory for the one who commits it, but in the eyes of God, it is a ticking time bomb, a destructive force that will one day catch up with them. Understand, my friends, betrayal is not just a wound inflicted on your soul. It is a decision made by the betrayer that alters the course of their own life. They may not see it now, but betrayal comes with a price. When someone decides to dishonor you, they are dishonoring themselves. When they manipulate or deceive you, they are setting themselves up for a greater fall. God has designed the universe with a law of cause and effect, a law of sowing and reaping. What they sow in the dark will be revealed in the light, and what they have planted in your life, they will one day harvest in their own. Now, I want you to understand that your role in this is not to be angry or vindictive. Your role is to trust in God's justice and to keep your heart pure. You see, the betrayal that they commit against you is not something that you need to fight against with your own strength. God's word assures us that vengeance belongs to Him. Your responsibility is not to pay back evil for evil, but to focus on your own journey, your own destiny, your own calling. Your growth, your peace, and your success should not be dependent on their actions. They may have betrayed you, but they will be the ones to face the consequences of their betrayal in ways you cannot even imagine. Remember, every time someone chooses to betray, they break their connection with their own integrity and they cut themselves off from the destiny God had for them. Their betrayal becomes the very thing that will cost them their peace, their relationships, their joy, and ultimately their purpose. Betrayal is not just a loss for you, it is a loss for them. And one day they will have to reckon with the price they paid for the pain they caused. Do not waste your energy mourning over their actions. Do not let their betrayal define your future. Instead, rise above it. Keep walking in your purpose, because while they may think they have succeeded in hurting you, God will turn that hurt into a stepping stone for your greater blessing. Their betrayal will not break you. It will make you stronger, wiser, and more aware of the incredible power within you. You are not a victim of their betrayal. You are a victor, and their actions will cost them more than they could ever understand. Let God fight for you and trust that He will repay them in ways that will leave them speechless. When someone betrays you, it's not just an attack on your character or your trust. It is, in many ways, an attack on their own soul. The betrayer may believe that they have outsmarted you, that they have gained something by deceiving or hurting you. But the truth is that they are only digging a grave for their own peace, joy, and future. While they may think their betrayal is a temporary victory, it is a long-term loss that will affect every area of their life. You see, betrayal is a self-inflicted wound. They might hurt you with their words, their actions, or their deceit, but the damage they do to you is nothing compared to the damage they do to themselves. Every lie they tell, every promise they break, every trust they shatter creates a ripple effect in their own heart and mind. The inner turmoil they will experience will be far greater than any temporary satisfaction they may feel in the moment. What they don't realize is that when they betray you, they are not only disconnecting from you, they are disconnecting from their own integrity, from their own sense of self. Integrity is the foundation of character, and when they compromise it for their personal gain, they undermine the very essence of who they are. That betrayal chips away at their soul. It may not show immediately, but over time, it erodes their peace, their relationships, and their future. They might try to convince themselves that they have won, that they've come out on top, but deep down, they are struggling. They are not at peace. They have lost something precious, something they may never fully recover. The trust they have shattered is not just yours to bear, but their own to carry, and the burden of that betrayal will weigh heavily on them for years to come. It is a law of life. What you do to others, you are ultimately doing to yourself. The harm they cause you, the dishonor they bring to your name, is only a temporary experience for you. For them, however, it will become a lasting impact on their peace of mind, their relationships, and their destiny. While you may feel pain in the moment, they will have to live with the consequences of their actions far longer than you will. It is a law of nature that the energy we put out into the world comes back to us, and the energy they put into betraying you will one day return to them, not as a punishment from you, but as a natural consequence of their own decisions. The truth is, they have done far more harm to themselves than they ever could have done to you. When someone decides to betray you, they are not just changing the course of your life, they are altering the trajectory of their own future. What they fail to realize is that every action, every decision, every word that comes from them sets into motion a chain of events that will eventually shape their destiny. Betrayal is not just an isolated event, it is a turning point, a catalyst that will eventually lead to a change they did not anticipate. They may think they've gained an advantage, but in reality, they have made a choice that will affect them in ways they cannot yet comprehend. Their betrayal doesn't just affect their relationship with you, it creates a ripple effect that touches every aspect of their life. When they choose to dishonor you, to break the trust you had placed in them, they are sowing seeds of distrust in their own hearts. Their own soul will begin to question their values, their integrity, and their ability to make wise decisions. Every time they look in the mirror, they will be reminded of the choice they made to betray someone who trusted them. That decision will eat away at their peace, their clarity, and their confidence. Over time, they will find it harder and harder to escape the weight of their own actions. Moreover, betrayal creates fractures in their other relationships. A person who betrays you doesn't just break their bond with you, they break the very foundation of trust that holds their relationships together. It doesn't matter how many times they try to apologize or move on. The trust they've shattered in one relationship will reverberate into every other relationship they have. People will begin to question their character. Others will sense the dishonesty and manipulation that runs deep in their nature, and the consequences will become visible in their interactions with others. Trust is the glue that holds relationships together, and once it's broken, it's incredibly difficult to rebuild. The betrayer may think they've escaped the damage, but the consequences will catch up with them in time. The most painful part of betrayal, however, is that the betrayer loses something far more valuable than any material gain they may have gained from their actions. They lose their peace of mind. They lose their integrity. They lose the respect of others. They may gain temporary satisfaction, but in the long run, they are setting themselves up for a future that is filled with regret, remorse, and isolation. The very act of betraying you is an act that chips away at the core of their identity, and with each passing day, they will find it harder to reconcile their actions with their own sense of self-worth. While you might rise above the betrayal, they will be trapped in the prison of their own guilt and the consequences of their choices. They are, in essence, sealing their own fate, and in time, they will realize that the cost of their betrayal is far greater than anything they could have imagined. Betrayal, in its essence, operates according to a universal law, a law that governs everything in life, the law of sowing and reaping. It's a principle that cannot be escaped, no matter how hard someone tries to run from it. What someone sows, they will eventually reap. The seeds of betrayal they plant today will one day grow into a harvest they can no longer avoid. This is not a principle that operates on a human timeline, but rather on God's divine timeline. And while the betrayer may think they've gotten away with their actions in the moment, there is a day of reckoning that is sure to come. When they sow the seeds of deception, dishonor, and betrayal, they are not only sowing into your life, they are sowing into their own future. Every lie they tell, every trust they break, every wound they inflict on you is a seed they are planting into the soil of their own destiny. What they fail to understand is that the harvest of those seeds is not something they can control. It may not come immediately, but it will come. And when it does, it will be far more devastating than they could have ever imagined. Their betrayal will eventually return to them in ways they cannot predict, with consequences that will change the course of their life. You see, God's law of cause and effect is never fooled. It doesn't matter how well someone thinks they've hidden their betrayal or how much they believe they've outsmarted you, the universe is designed to bring balance and justice. The energy they put into hurting you, the manipulation and the dishonesty, is the energy that will come back to them. It will manifest in their lives as a cycle of negativity, as their peace, their joy, their prosperity, and their relationships start to erode away. This is not punishment from you, but the natural consequence of their own actions. They may act as if they've won in the short term, but the long-term cost is far more severe than they can imagine. The beauty of this law is that it works independently of you. You don't have to lift a finger to make them pay for their betrayal. You don't have to hold on to anger or bitterness. You can walk away from it, let it go, and move forward in your life. God will make sure that their sowing doesn't go unnoticed. What they have planted in secret will eventually be exposed. What they have reaped in deception will come back to them, and they will have to deal with the consequences of their own choices. The law of sowing and reaping is a powerful force that cannot be avoided, and it will bring about a harvest that they will not be able to outrun. In the end, betrayal is never a one-way action. It is not something that only affects you, but something that impacts the betrayer as well. The consequences of their betrayal will catch up to them, and the harvest of what they have sown will shape the future they thought they had under their control. In the face of betrayal, it is tempting to seek revenge, to fight back with the same anger and hurt that has been thrown our way. The natural human response is to want to make them feel the pain that they have caused us. But I am here to tell you that retaliation is not your responsibility, nor is it your role in this situation. The moment you choose to respond with vengeance, you lower yourself to their level and you invite chaos into your own heart. You must resist the urge to fight back, because doing so only feeds into the same cycle of negativity that they have started. Instead, you must put your trust in God's justice and allow Him to take control of the situation. God is not blind to the betrayal, nor is He unaware of the hurt you've endured. His law of justice is greater than any action we could take in retaliation. It is God who will bring the proper consequences to the betrayer, not you. Your job is to remain faithful to your integrity, to hold on to your peace, and to keep your focus on your purpose. You see, when you choose to take matters into your own hands, you are acting in a way that contradicts the very principles of peace and faith. You are saying, I don't trust God to handle this situation, and that kind of attitude only robs you of the peace that belongs to you. God, in His perfect wisdom, sees all, knows all, and will ensure that the betrayer reaps the consequences of their actions. But His way of justice is far more precise and far more effective than anything you could ever plan or execute. God knows exactly what the betrayer needs, and He knows exactly how to bring them to the point where they must face the truth of their actions. The beauty of trusting God's justice is that it allows you to release the burden of anger, bitterness, and the need for revenge. When you let go, you free yourself from the prison of resentment, and you allow God to work in ways that you could never have imagined. Think about the power of forgiveness. Forgiving the betrayer does not mean excusing their behavior. It doesn't mean that what they did to you is okay. Forgiveness is not for them, it is for you. It is about freeing yourself from the chains that would otherwise keep you locked in bitterness. When you forgive, you take back the control of your peace, your joy, and your destiny. You no longer give the betrayer the power to dictate how you feel or how you will respond. Instead, you take that power back, and in doing so, you empower yourself to move forward in a way that honors your higher self. As you trust God to handle the situation, you also remain focused on your own journey. Do not allow the actions of others to detour you from your purpose. Their betrayal is a distraction, a strategy of the enemy to pull you off course. But God has placed a calling on your life that no one can take away, and the more you stay aligned with your purpose, the more you will see the hand of God working in your life. As they wallow in the consequences of their betrayal, you will rise above it stronger and more focused than ever before. Your success, your peace, and your purpose will be the testimony to the world that God's justice is always in motion, even when we cannot see it. Let go of the need for vengeance and allow God to handle what is His to deal with. Your victory is assured. Betrayal often causes deep emotional wounds. When someone betrays you, they don't just break your trust, they break a piece of your heart. This kind of hurt goes beyond just a broken relationship. It impacts your ability to trust others, to love freely, and to believe in the goodness of people. The emotional toll of betrayal can feel like a weight that you carry around with you, a constant reminder of the pain and disillusionment you've experienced. But here's the truth: their betrayal will not only cost them the peace and joy they thought they could take from you, but it will also reveal their character, and in the process, it will create an opportunity for you to heal and rise higher than ever before. Understand that while they may cause you pain in the moment, it is that very pain that can catalyze your greatest transformation. What they intended as harm can be used by God to build you up, to teach you lessons you would never have learned otherwise. Their betrayal may sting, but in the end, it will not define you unless you allow it. In fact, the pain you feel can become the very foundation upon which you rebuild your life stronger, wiser, and more discerning. It is through the process of healing that you discover new strength, deeper resilience, and a greater capacity to forgive. The betrayal of someone close to you forces you to confront yourself, your own vulnerabilities, your own trust issues, your own beliefs about relationships, but it also forces you to realize your worth. You begin to see that your value is not tied to someone else's actions or opinions. Your worth is inherent, determined by God, not by the betrayal or rejection of another person. As you heal, you will come to understand that their actions are a reflection of who they are, not who you are. And in time, you will realize that their betrayal is a blessing in disguise, a lesson that has allowed you to grow in ways you never imagined possible. One of the greatest gifts of overcoming betrayal is the clarity it brings. You see, when people hurt you, they reveal their true character, and you are no longer blinded by the illusion of loyalty or friendship. Betrayal cuts through the superficial layers of relationships, leaving only the truth. It forces you to evaluate who truly deserves your time, your trust, and your energy. Those who are loyal, who have your back, will reveal themselves to you in your time of need. The others, the ones who have betrayed you, will show their true colors. And as painful as it may be to see them for who they truly are, it is also a great blessing because it opens the door to better, more genuine relationships. The emotional healing from betrayal requires a deep process of introspection, but it also requires an outward shift. You must actively choose to forgive, not for them, but for yourself. Forgiveness is the key to releasing the emotional weight that betrayal places on you. It is through forgiveness that you break free from the cycle of pain, resentment, and anger. The more you forgive, the more you cleanse yourself of the negativity that the betrayal has brought into your life. Forgiveness is not about excusing their actions. It's about releasing the hold that their betrayal has over you. It's about freeing your heart to move forward unburdened by the past. Through this healing process, you will find that the emotional scars left by betrayal will begin to fade. You will not forget what happened, but you will no longer allow it to control your life or dictate how you see yourself. You will see the betrayer not as a source of pain, but as a person who is operating out of their own insecurities, fears, and weaknesses. In this way, their betrayal becomes a stepping stone for your emotional growth. It becomes a tool that, when used correctly, allows you to grow in emotional intelligence, in self-awareness, and in the ability to set boundaries. You see, the beauty of this journey is that you are not defined by what others do to you, but by how you respond to it. While their actions were a betrayal of trust, your response will be the catalyst for your healing and your future. This emotional restoration is not something that happens overnight, but with time and patience, you will find that you emerge from this experience stronger, more at peace, and more capable of loving and trusting again. The pain will diminish, and in its place will be a renewed sense of purpose, clarity, and strength. Their betrayal in the end will not cost you, it will only cost them, for it is they who will carry the weight of their actions long after you have healed. When someone betrays you, it can feel like the ultimate form of rejection. The pain is deep and the emotions can be overwhelming. But what you must understand is that their betrayal is not a reflection of your worth, it is a reflection of their own character. Their actions speak volumes about who they are, not about who you are. And while it may hurt in the moment, over time, you will come to see that the real cost of betrayal is something that they will carry with them far longer than you ever will. The reality is that betrayal reveals the true nature of people. It exposes their weaknesses, insecurities, and often their lack of integrity. A person who betrays another person is someone who is often driven by fear, envy, or self-interest. They may not be capable of understanding the long-term impact of their actions, or they may have chosen to act out of convenience, thinking they could gain something without any consequence. But make no mistake, their betrayal does not go unnoticed by the universe, and it does not go unaccounted for by God. Over time, the betrayer will find themselves in situations where their lack of honesty and their actions will come back to haunt them. They may lose the trust of others, and they may find that their relationships are strained or even severed. The very thing they thought would give them an advantage, their deceptive behavior, will eventually work against them. Relationships built on lies and manipulation are never stable, and eventually the truth will surface. What goes around will indeed come back around, and the betrayer will have to face the consequences of the seed they planted in your life. Their reputation will be tarnished, their credibility diminished. People who once trusted them will begin to see them for what they truly are, and those same people will distance themselves, recognizing that someone who is capable of betrayal once may not be someone who can be trusted again. The betrayal they once thought would give them an edge or get them ahead will instead push them into isolation, for who will want to associate with someone known for disloyalty and deceit. Their actions will isolate them from the very people they wish to be close to, and in the end they will find themselves standing alone with no one to turn to. But this cost does not only affect them socially, it also impacts their inner peace and happiness. The guilt that comes from betraying someone can weigh heavily on the soul. Even if the betrayer tries to hide from the truth, the emotional and psychological toll of living a life of deception will catch up to them. No matter how well they may try to mask their true feelings, there is a constant battle inside their heart. They will wrestle with regret, with shame, and with the realization that they have hurt someone who once trusted them. The cost of betraying another is a price that cannot be paid off in material ways. It is a spiritual, emotional, and moral debt that must be dealt with in their own heart. What the betrayer fails to realize in the moment is that their deceit is a reflection of their own internal struggles. They may have acted out of fear, a desire for gain, or a lack of character, but the truth is that they are only hurting themselves. The very act of betrayal shows that they are not at peace with themselves and that they are trapped in a cycle of dishonesty and insecurity. They may have temporarily gained something by betraying you, but in the long run, they will realize that what they have gained is hollow. Their soul is left empty, their conscience uneasy, and their peace lost. The real cost of betrayal is not the temporary satisfaction they may feel in the moment, but the long-term consequences they will face in their own lives. Their actions will eventually return to them in ways they cannot avoid. And though you may have been hurt by their betrayal, you will be the one to rise above it, to heal, and to move forward. As they continue to deal with the fallout from their choices, you will find your strength and your peace. Their betrayal will cost them much more than it ever cost you emotionally, socially, and spiritually. While you have the power to heal and move on, they will have to live with the consequences of their own actions, and in time, they will understand that the price they paid was much too high. When someone betrays you, they often believe that they can walk away unscathed, that their actions will not come back to haunt them. They may even think that they have gained something from their betrayal, whether it's power, an advantage, or some perceived personal benefit. But what they fail to realize is that the emotional damage they cause will not only affect you, it will affect them in ways they cannot foresee. Betrayal leaves a mark on the soul, and while they may temporarily feel as if they've gotten away with something, the true cost of their betrayal is far greater than they could ever imagine. The ripple effect of betrayal extends far beyond the individual whom they've wronged. When someone betrays you, they break more than just a relationship. They break the trust that others have in them as well. People who witness the betrayal, or those who hear about it, begin to question the integrity of the betrayer. Trust is a fragile thing, and once it is broken, it's not easily restored. The betrayer's actions will have consequences that affect their relationships, their reputation, and their overall standing in the eyes of those around them. They may have thought that betraying you would elevate them or give them an advantage, but in the end, it erodes their character and causes people to pull away from them. Even if the betrayer believes they can move forward without feeling the weight of their actions, their conscience will eventually catch up to them. The internal cost of betrayal is immense. Betraying someone isn't just an action, it's a moral compromise, an act that goes against the values of honesty, loyalty, and love. No matter how they try to justify their actions, the guilt that accompanies betrayal is a constant presence. It is a heavy burden that they will carry, one that no external success or accomplishment can erase. The emotional and psychological toll of betraying another will remain with them, clouding their happiness and diminishing their peace of mind. They may try to distract themselves or even convince themselves that they did the right thing, but deep down they will always know that they acted out of selfishness, fear, or insecurity. Moreover, betrayal creates a fracture in the soul of the one who betrayed, one that cannot easily be healed. It is as if they have compromised their own integrity, allowing darkness to enter into their hearts. When they look back, they will see that their actions have distanced them from their own values, their own sense of right and wrong. It's as if they have sold a piece of themselves in exchange for temporary gain, and that price is much too high. What they thought they were gaining, whether it was money, status, or some form of personal advantage, will eventually seem insignificant compared to the moral and spiritual cost of their actions. The betrayal they committed will leave them questioning their own worth, their own ability to trust themselves, and their own future. The consequences of betrayal don't stop with guilt or self-reflection. They extend to their interactions with others. The people around them, even if they don't know the full extent of what they've done, will sense the change. Relationships built on deception are unstable, and those who have been betrayed will not be the only ones to feel the fallout. Others in their life may begin to notice inconsistencies, untrustworthy behavior, or an overall sense of dishonesty. They may no longer be able to rely on the betrayer, and over time, their circle of support will shrink. People value loyalty, and the betrayer's actions will sow distrust wherever they go. It's only a matter of time before their network of relationships starts to crumble, leaving them isolated and without the very support system they once took for granted. What's more, the emotional damage caused by betrayal has a lasting effect on a person's mental and emotional health. They may experience anxiety, depression, and even a fear of being exposed or found out. The shame and embarrassment of knowing that they've wronged someone will eat at them, and even if they try to suppress it, it will eventually resurface in their thoughts and actions. The stress of living with this guilt can lead to physical manifestations as well: headaches, sleepless nights, and a general feeling of unease. They may find themselves in situations where they are constantly looking over their shoulder, wondering when the consequences of their actions will catch up with them. As much as the betrayer may try to move forward, they will find that the internal and external consequences of their actions will follow them. Their emotional state, their relationships, and even their personal sense of self-worth will suffer in ways that they cannot easily repair. The betrayal that they thought would give them an advantage will, in the long run, cost them more than they could ever imagine. They will find themselves in a constant battle with their own conscience, living in a world that is defined by the very actions they took to escape accountability. And while they may have thought they were outsmarting the situation, they will ultimately realize that their betrayal is the thing that will bring them the greatest loss. Betrayal often leads people to think that they can break someone's spirit, that they can cause damage and walk away without any consequences. They may believe that by tearing you down, they will somehow rise up, thinking that the hurt they inflict will somehow lift them higher. But what they fail to realize is that their betrayal is not just a temporary wound for you, it is a life sentence for them. It's a chain that they will struggle to break for the rest of their lives. The consequences of their actions may not be immediate, but they will catch up with them in ways they cannot escape. The real truth is, the act of betraying someone creates a cycle of destruction that the betrayer will not be able to outrun. When a person betrays you, it may seem like they have gained an advantage in the moment. They may think that by undermining you, they are positioning themselves for success or winning the approval of others. But what they don't realize is that they have just set in motion a process that will ultimately turn against them. The damage they cause to your life may seem like it has only impacted you. But the truth is, betrayal creates a ripple effect that reaches far beyond the one who has been betrayed. People will begin to see them differently. The truth, once revealed, will have a way of spreading, and the betrayer will find themselves in the midst of a situation where they cannot hide from the fallout of their actions. The relationships they once took for granted will begin to dissolve as trust is shattered and people realize that they cannot rely on someone who has shown such a lack of integrity.